All right, Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises to Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. Give double honors to the elders who rule well and say honors and Shalom to all the rest out there doing the work in truth and sincerity. All right, so brother Alazar Bunloya, want to do this. Video on the Mayan Bible. All right. Start this PowerPoint I got set up on it. All right, the Mayan Bible with the subtitle of Hebrew History, Zebulon. All right, get right into it. Well, actually, before we even get into it, kind of jumping the gun. Basically, the Mayan Bible, or as it's known as the Popol Vuh, is basically different Mayan mythology or so-called mythology and theology, of the Mayans, which is known as the tribe of Zebulon. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to go into certain things, accounts, descriptions, and things of that nature that's in the so-called Mayan Bible or the Popol Vuh, and draw the parallels back to the Holy Bible, for further instilling the fact that the Mayans were Israelites and were very more familiar with the Bible. Okay, and this is the Spirit bearing witness, and using the earth to assist us in further proving and substantiating, the points that we have our faith in. You know what I'm saying? Before we knew any of this, we had the faith that the Mayans was Israelites of the tribe of Zebulon. But this only, it makes it that much more better that we have that much more proof to substantiate these claims, all through the Spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. We got to say the water Yahweh Shem Yahushai for, giving us this information. That's why I'm going to freely give it. After I did the research, because I want the Akim to know this, you know what I'm saying, to further confirm and substantiate, what it is that we do out here. You know what I'm saying, in the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Okay, but let's go into it. The creation. This is from the Popol Vuh or the Mayan Bible, the translation of it. Over a universe wrapped in the gloom of a dense primeval night, past the god Hurakan, the mighty wind he called out earth, and the solid land appeared. Okay, let's go to 2 Ezra 6 and 38. And I said, O Lord, thou spakest from the beginning of the creation, even the first day, and saidest thus, let the heaven and earth be made, and thy word was a perfect work. So it's telling us exactly how the Most High created the earth, by speaking it into existence such, and really giving the order and the command to Yahushua and the angels to, create the world. The same thing happened of the chief god of the Mayans, which was Hurakan. Okay, now Hurakan, as he's called, the mighty wind, is that's where you get the term hurricane from. That mighty wind that comes and jacks stuff up. That's where you get the term hurricane from, because outside of the Mayans, there were actually other of the tribes that were calling on a variation of this name Hurakan as a representative of the Most High being the mighty wind. As we know, the scriptures speak about how the Most High is going to bring the destroying wind, but also the spirit. A way that people commonly liken the spirit is unto a wind, something that is clearly there, clearly a force, but it's not tangible, and you can't necessarily see it. You understand what I'm saying? So that Hurakan, or that mighty wind, is also indicative of that mighty and that great spirit. Okay, so we got to remember those things. The chief gods. This is an excerpt from, again, another excerpt from the Popol Vuh. The chief gods stood council. They were Hurakan, Gokumats, the serpent covered with green feathers, and Zipiakak and Exukane, the mother and father gods. Now understand something. Before I even get into my next point, we see a concept of, things that are in the scriptures just with this. But I'm gonna get into my next point, and then we're gonna touch back on it. Gukamats is the next point I want to touch on. Okay, it said Gukamats was a serpent that was covered in wings. Okay, where do we see this in the scriptures? And notice real quick, he's mentioned directly under Hurakan, which is the chief deity, chief god. This is Isaiah 6 and 1 to 7. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord sitting upon the throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Above it stood the seraphims. Okay, which is seraphim, when you look it up in the Hebrew, is a fiery flying serpent. Each one had 6 wings. With twain he covered his face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. And one cried unto another and said, Holy, 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 the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. And the post of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke. Then said I, Woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips. For mine eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from off the altar. And he laid it upon my mouth, and said, Lo, this hath touched thy lips, and thine iniquity is taken away, and thy sin purged. So as we see here, we see seraphims dwelling with the Most High, amongst the Most High, as agents of the Most High. Okay, and we see one of them took a coal and purged the sin of Isaiah. Okay, and we know and we understand that that's really indicative of Yahushua. Yahushua is coming to purge our sins, okay, and take away our iniquity from us. Okay, so that is an example of how Yahushua is known as a fiery flying serpent with wings. Okay, we also see a similar god in the Aztec culture, but that's a whole other conversation. Let's get another scripture. This John 1 and 1 to 3. Okay, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. So it's talking about how the Word, who is Yahushua, who the world ultimately calls Christ, was a power or a God, and was with the Most High God. Okay, just as Gukamatz, who is described as that fiery flying serpent with wings, was with Huracan, which is the Most High of the Mayan pantheon. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, so I just want to examine that, how they had this concept of this feathered serpent that was right under the Most High, in assisting him with the creation, and him consulting with this deity during the creation amongst other deities, which of course is indicative of the Most High Yahushua and Elohim, or the heavenly host, the angels. Okay, this is all them same themes that we see. And let's go to the flood. To supply the deficiency, the divine beings resolved to create mankind's carved out of wood, but these soon incurred the displeasure of the gods, who, irritated by their lack of reverence, resolved to destroy them. Then by the will of Huracan, the heart of heaven, the waters were swollen, and a great flood came upon the mannikins of wood. They were drowned, and the thick resin fell from heaven, because they had not thought on Huracan. Therefore the face of the earth grew dark, and the pouring rain commenced, raining by day and by night. It's Genesis 6, starting at 11. The earth also was corrupt before the Most High, and the earth was filled with violence. And the Most High looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And the Most High said unto Noah, The end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Okay, so it's the same thing. We're seeing a flood occurring because people are being wicked and not reverencing the Most High in both instances. So we're seeing, inexplicably undeniable, irrefutable, unavoidable recurring themes and similarities within these two stories. Okay, within the scriptures and within the Popol Vuh or the Mayan Bible, the scriptures. Okay, the Creator formed. The Creator and Former made 4 perfect men. Their names were Balaam Quetzay, which means the jaguar with the sweet smile. Balaam Agab, the jaguar of the night. Mahu Kata, the distinguished name, and Iki Balaam, the jaguar of the night. Now I want to point something out, okay? This whole concept of the jaguar is something that is very big in not only Mayan history, mythology, theology, beliefs, but all Mesoamerican cultures looked and leaned heavily towards the jaguar. Okay, but the first thing I want to explore before we even explore the jaguar concept is this term that was placed on the jaguar, or the actual Mayan word for jaguar, which is Balaam. Strong's H 1168 is Baal, or Lord. You add a or I'm or yum to it, it makes it plural. So what are they saying? What are they referring to They're referring to the jaguar and the individuals who the name of the jaguar was placed on as lords or chiefs. Okay, so when it's talking about the chief people created, the majority of their names had Balaam in it, which is really indicative of a lord. Okay, also same thing of the Alahayim, which when we go back here to this whole concept of the chief gods that were amongst the most high of that pantheon, which is Hurakan, we're seeing this whole concept of the Alahayim, or the powers that heavenly host in Yahweh Shai, being present there. So it's all the same biblical concepts and themes that we're seeing in the Mayan Bible as we see in the Holy Bible, okay? Proving that the people of the Holy Bible are the Mayans, okay? But over the course of time, things got distorted, through falling away, and as it was prophesied, now people becoming, wicked, but there's still going to be those themes and strong elements and foundations of truth, okay? Now let's go into the significance of that jaguar, okay? The representation of jaguars in Mesoamerican culture has a long history, with iconographic examples dating back to at least the mid-formative period of Mesoamerican chronology. The jaguar, Panthera onca, which is a scientific term for the jaguar, is an animal with a prominent association and appearance in the cultures and belief systems of pre-Columbian Mesoamerican societies. Quick, agile, and powerful enough to take down the largest prey in the jungle, the jaguar is the largest of big cats in the Americas and one of the most efficient and aggressive predators. No doubt the jaguar's brilliant coat made it quite desirable. However, not all were allowed to don the jaguar pelt, as it became the identification of the ruling class for the Maya. Not only did Maya kings wear jaguar pelts, but they also adopted the jaguar as a part of their ruling name as a symbol of their might and authority. Okay, so that's why we see the term Balaam, which is a Hebrew word meaning lords, being put on the ruling class. It was synonymous with the ruling class as well as the jaguar. Why? Because the jaguar ruled the jungles of Mesoamerica, because the jaguar was the Mesoamerican equivalent to the lion. Hence why our people, who have always used the lion as symbolism of rulership and power and might, when we got over to this side of the world and we were disconnected from the lion, we grasped onto the closest thing to the lion of Mesoamerica, which was the jaguar. You see what I'm saying? I hope brothers is following this. You know what I'm saying? This is really powerful, and it's all through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay, Romans 8 and the 16th verse tells us the spirit itself beareth witness that we are the children of the Most High, that we are the Israelites. And the spirit is clearly bearing witness that the Mayans are descendants of the ancient Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of, just based off all the spiritual characteristics of them, especially with this whole thing of taking the term of Lord and applying it to the chief of the animal kingdom and the chief of the people as Balaam. You understand what I'm saying? As choosing the jaguar to be their symbol of power and might, just as our ancient forefathers, while in our right mind in our ancient land, chose the lion. We picked the closest thing when we got here to this side of the world and utilized it in the same form and fashion to symbolize the rulers of the people, of the nation, to symbolize that power. You understand what I'm saying? Let's go to Genesis 49, 8-9. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise, because the tribe of Judah is the leading tribe, the head of the nation. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thy enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he crouched as a lion and as an old lion. Who shall rise him up? So we see that Judah, the rulership tribe, is synonymous with the lion. Hence why the rulership families and clans of the Mayans were always represented by the jaguar, the Mesoamerican equivalent of the lion. Okay, let's go to the next one. The jaguar is further associated with vegetation and fertility by the Maya, with what is known as a water lily jaguar, which is depicted as having water lilies sprouting from its head. So we see the water lily was also something, along with the big cat, that was major in Mayan theology, mythology, beliefs, and symbolism. Okay, let's go to Songs of Solomon, the 5th chapter, 13th verse. His cheeks are as a bed of spices, as sweet flowers. His lips like lilies, dropping sweet, smelling myrrh. This 1 Kings 10 and 19. The throne had 6 steps, and the top of the throne was round behind. There were strays on either side on the place of his seat, and 2 lions stood beside the lamps. So what I wanted to show here is how uh, uh, when you deal with Solomon and how he was decked out, you see what I'm saying, in his uh, his throne had the lion, just like they had this throne, which I showed here earlier. This throne with the jaguar, right? And also the water lilies were shown with this throne. And now the lily, as seen here in Songs of Solomon, the 5th chapter, 13th verse, as well as other places in the scriptures, is the Most High's favorite flower, okay? And of course is associated closely with Solomon, who was a king, just as the lion throne was associated with Solomon, it was a king. You see what I'm saying? And during that period of time, that was actually the last king to rule over the United Confederation of the houses of Israel and Judah. So you got to take that into consideration. They observed Solomon. They observed Solomon having those lions at his throne, and having, you know, the using that lily and the beauty that it represents as the Most High's favorite and choice flower. And they actually implemented it on this side of the world, as we evidently just exhibited. Okay? And they also had a concept of who the Lord's chosen people were, and all people were not the same. They were the ancestors of the cliches only. Then were created the ancestors of other peoples. They were ignorant of methods of worship. So it was letting you know that these people had that concept that there was one chosen people who knew properly how to worship the Most High God. And it was different from the rest of the people who were ignorant and stupid heathens. 2nd Ezra 3:32. Or is there any other people that knoweth thee beside Israel? Or what generation hath so believed thy covenants as Jacob? Skipping to verse 36. Thou shalt find that Israel by name have kept thy precepts, but not the heathen. See, the Quiche or the Mayans, they had this concept. You see what I'm saying? Which is an ancient concept that we've always had through the Spirit, that we were the Most High's chosen people. We're the only people who know how to worship the Most High in spirit and in truth. Okay? And everybody else is a heathen and they up under us. They had this mindset mentality. They understood this concept. Why? Because they are from Israel. They are the Israelites. Okay? Let's go. All right, Babel. Toulon was a place of misfortune to man, for not only did he suffer from cold and famine, but here his speech was so confounded that the first 4 men were no longer able to comprehend each other. They determined to leave Toulon, and under the leadership of the god Tohil, set out to search for a new abode. Okay, which is the same as what we get ready to read in Genesis 11:7-9. Go to, let us go down and confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth. And from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of the earth. So we see the same thing happening in the Mayan Bible pretty much. We see there's a misfortune. We see people's speech is confounded. And we see people not being able to understand each other, so they left and they set out to find new homes. The same exact thing. You see what I'm saying? It's all through the Spirit. You know, Yahweh Shem Shai, so Yapa, or beautiful for those of y'all that don't know that term. He is Yapa, man. He's beautiful. This truth is beautiful. His Spirit is beautiful because he is showing us that his people are clearly identified throughout the whole earth. All you have to do is take their mythology, no matter how twisted it may have become, and find the key principles of it, and make the connections back to the scriptures, and line the scriptures up with the condition and state that it said that they would be in, and what they would go through, especially the curses of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. You understand what I'm saying? Now let's go to Arsareth, okay? Which, you know, we're just going to read it. Many mountains had they to climb, and a long passage to make through the sea, which was miraculously divided for their journey from shore to shore. So this is dealing with how the Mayans believe they got to this side of the earth from the east, mind you, according to their mythology. This is Exodus 14:16. But lift thou up thy rod, and stretch out thine hand over the sea, and divide it, and the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. So that whole thing of the water miraculously being divided is illustrated here in the Mayan Bible, just as it is in the book of Exodus when we fled out of Egypt. But let's get to the major point of that, which is Arsareth rather. Let's go to 2nd Ezra 13, starting at verse 43. And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then shewed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. It's the same concept. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth. So the journey of the northern kingdom to this side of the earth was documented here in 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, and was also documented in the Mayan Bible or the Popol Vuh, when it says, many mountains had they to climb, and a long passage to make through the sea, which was miraculously divided for their journey from shore to shore. We see these things. It is evident. The Mayans are Hebrews. And now look, you see the Mayans in this photograph as well. They are being depicted as black people. All the Latinos, or the majority of the Latinos that was here on this side, so-called Hispanic and Native Americans, were all dark-skinned black men before the conquistadors came and started raping the hell out of them, lighting them up, and so on and so forth. You understand what I'm saying? So they showed you that the ancient Mayan people, the tribe of Zebulon, were a dark-skinned people. Not only were there dark-skinned people, there were dark-skinned people who had the same exact mythology, or rather theology and history of the scriptures, and their history is coincides with the scriptures. You see what I'm saying? And it's all through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. We get this information, and we put it out to the Akim out there for everybody, to edify the body. Okay, that's pretty much it. You know what I'm saying? But I hope brothers enjoyed it. I hope brothers was edified by it. And again, I want to say, Kal Halal Yahweh Hashem Yahushua.